Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, doo-dah day.
Boy, I opened up the door and suddenly I got a room full of dog. Kimber says hello. Okay. Last Man Standing was rather computer technical tonight. I understood maybe one word in 5, which is better than when I'm talking to my genius son who programs computers, where I'm lucky if I can understand a word in 100. But hopefully there were some problems solved and some advice given that was really vital. And at the time, we thought it was interesting. So, welcome to Last Man Standing. And if I keep looking over my shoulder, it's just because the dog won't let me close the door and send her off to bed with my wife, and which is usually what happens when I'm in the show. But let's see, where can we go from here? Oh, that sounds like a good song title. Probably somebody like Styx should cover it. I don't know, one of those really talented bands. In any case, we've got Aunt Donna with us tonight. We've got Dawn, and I heard another clink, and there goes Richie. Has got the laptop rebooted. All right. Oh. Look, you might want to bring the microphone out from behind your head.
So earlier, just before my meeting for work, that's why I started over. Earlier, just before my meeting for work, so normally I have my headphones like that wrapped around the back of my head, but for work, when I plug it into the work computer, I use them properly and bring the boom mic down and the whole 9 yards. When I went to extend, apparently I broke this side, so I have to use the Coban, I think they call it, or Coflex or whatever, to fix my headset. We have a box of a whole bunch of different colors, and I'm like, "Oh, green, mine."
Yeah. Really? Okay. Evidently, I woke Lindsay up. She came and got the dog.
Whoopsie.
Yeah,
Maybe maybe the bed was cold because the dog was there.
we'll take that one as a working hypothesis. Yes. Um,
Hey, Aunt Donna, I sent you a picture via Messenger to the real you, not the fake you. It's Jacques
Thank
Z.
you.
Whipper. Jacques Z. Whipper wearing baseball pants.
boy, YouTube gets
Isn't
Well,
that
if he
serious.
technically what he wears to begin with? Just a different color and a blood stripe that's yellow?
Mm.
If he has to be wearing pants, I guess baseball does it.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chrissy.
I should know that. I mean, they're just down the road, or they used to be. They're probably in New York now. Uh, I can't remember, but no, there was something called "Where do we go from here?" And to the best of my mind, it sounded like a Styx song, but it could have been any of the um, prog era bands because a lot of them sounded almost exactly alike, except for if there were obvious differences in what instruments they all had. Yes, I'm showing my age, but
Carpenters, where do I go from
I
here?
think this kind of give it away to start with. Um,
I sorry, I was pointing because there's background thing going on there with Aunt Donna.
And that's why Aunt Donna muted her phone or her mic so she could yell at somebody.
He's so cute. Oh, he was a little flirt last weekend.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't think Carl was like that.
Well, so was he.
Oh, you should have seen him after everybody left. Even though he was playing hard to get, he was like, "Where'd my fans all go?"
Where's all the girls?
Really? My groupies left?
Yep.
Ah,
Tonight I can't make it a late night tonight because I have another doctor's appointment tomorrow. May must be my month up. If there's a doctor in my life, I have to see them.
thank you, Chris. That does sound exactly right, actually. Remembering the voices. Alan Parsons would fit perfectly with that
I
memory.
told you I'd throw something at you.
Promises.
Talking to Calvin or Jacques?
I'd throw something at Jacques, but not a box.
A box by any other name.
Oh, yeah, that's
You-
right.
Yeah, not the
you-
Green River Band.
You walked right into that one. I'm sorry.
Right is, yes. I left that one open, didn't I? Well, that's what she said. I did it again.
Oh man, you're bad. So Rich, I do thank you for your information. It's just I don't know why it started doing it. I'm thinking that there was some kind of Android update that's just messing with it.
Mhm.
Since it's doing it on
I
the
could-
tablet and the phone, and both of them are Android.
Yeah, that could be very, very much likely.
Like I said, with my main desktop, not the streaming computer, because it's much more modern and up to date and capable. After I had that failed Windows update that go, oh, we got 99%. Oh, sorry, this ain't gonna work. We're gonna have to scrub all that right back out of the memory. Excuse us for 45 minutes while we reset you to where you were when we started. At least I put it back where I started from.
I love the fact that the technology has brought us together, but I hate that it's so frustrating that it just would be a pain in the ass.
I enjoy that a lot of people find technology frustrating because otherwise I'd be unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'm paying you. You're just helping me out because You like me a little bit. I entertain you. You keep me around for entertainment value.
Let's face it, technology has been frustrating since somebody decided to invent the wheel.
Yeah.
I was going to go
No,
back as far as fire.
Oh, yeah, well, no.
Why won't fire start? Pouring rain. Why won't fire start? Pouring rain.
What
Rain
color
in
should
there
it
too.
be? Do people want fire that could be fitted nasally? Yes. Douglas Adams has a lot to answer for in the afterlife, um, if we're in the same one. Um,
he'll probably just sit there and laugh at you.
Blue flames are bad, especially if one of your friends just had a burrito.
so
No
you
dog.
don't, Joe Dog.
Yeah.
No, Rich, I know what you mean. Anytime I'm at a cash register and they say make a comment about the computer being slow or something like that, I'm like, that's okay. It's computers like that that enabled me to have such a nice retirement.
Yeah.
Oh,
People can get mean about other people, like cashiers and stuff like that. Like, I can't get mad at a cashier that's having computer issues.
Not their
hey,
fault.
when somebody running a cash register apologizes to me because the computer's acting up, I go, I've been using the darn thing since they were invented. Don't worry, I understand. They're
Hmm.
all built by the lowest bidder on a contract.
That too, yes.
They were
Anyway,
around in Charles Babbage's time?
Uh-huh. Who do you think helped him carve the little bobbins for the things?
wait a minute. You're not that old because that would make me even older.
In this lifetime, yeah, but
You have to
Oh,
remember, Dan keeps sliding timelines.
true, true.
Old day.
cereal reincarnation, which doesn't mean I keep on eating Captain Crunch every day. Um,
Damn, he took my line.
Rich, by the way, I started laughing when you asked about the everything bagel thing above my head, which is a wreath, because one of my friends just messaged me. She's making homemade crackers, and she goes, "Do you want cinnamon sugar or everything bagel?" Within like 20 seconds of when you said that, I'm like,
Synchronicity is a big thing in this universe. I've noticed that.
Hmm.
tonight
Um,
she brought over homemade chocolate banana bread.
Ooh.
oh, did you see the
We're going-
photographs that Keisha posted of all the delicious looking desserts that she made?
Hmm. I
And I
tried
keep
not.
looking at them and go, "Oh, they look so good, but do they actually have food in them, or is
Vegan
this
food.
vegan food?" Like I said, actual food. You know, I pick on people that somehow think it's holier than thou to restrict their diet in one way, shape, or form.
There are
When
very
well,
good
I
vegan
mean,
recipes, as long
we're
as
we're
I can have a hamburger once in a while too.
we're
I like
we're
to
we're omnivores. I mean, seriously, we wouldn't have survived long enough to get where we were if we weren't quite capable of making a meal out of anything that grows, crawls, swims, flies, or lopes away from us at a speed that we can catch up with eventually. Um, One of the things that I thought was really nice about the early um, human development was that we were cursorial hunters. That we could chase things that could run faster than we could, but we didn't stop. They had to stop and take a break. They had to stop and sleep. We just kept walking until they were exhausted, and then they were barbecued.
we're gonna go check out a place. The girl who brought the bread over, my bestie, we're gonna go check out a new place tomorrow called the Queen of Squash. As long as we're both feeling okay. after my doctor's
Okay.
appointment if she's feeling okay. And
Well,
I
hopefully
thought it was
you'll
going to
feel
be a
okay.
vegan food. I thought it was going to be all vegan food. And I was reading the menu, and it's a small menu because they're starting out. And they are having it's like a Asian pear salad with it. And I got to ask, though, but they have a ginger sesame dressing and blah, blah. I'm like, and you can get chicken on it. I'm like, oh, as long as the ginger sesame dressing does not hurt me, then I'm totally getting that.
Have you seen the
Oh,
trailer for My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3?
Uh-uh.
They go back to Greece for a family reunion, and this one scene is this little old lady is out in the chicken pen, and she tells the American guy, "Pick out one for dinner." And he looks down at her and he says, I'm vegetarian." She just looks at him and goes, "No." Not in this house.
when in Rome or any other neighborhood, um, act like a Roman candle. Uh,
Blow up nicely.
just make a brilliant light in the dark and
Make
make
all
women
the
go,
real men go,
ooh. Ah. Yes, I'm totally sick and twisted. I've come to grips with it. Shut up, Richie.
And
I was
Don,
behaving. I
thank
was
you
taking
again.
medicine.
Thank you again for coming with Michaela last weekend. I appreciated it. Mike appreciated it.
Mm,
It was,
this is going to sound really weird. I enjoyed myself. I mean, it was a celebration of life.
yes, and
that's how she would have
that
liked it.
exactly. That's the
Yes.
best way to pay respect is to celebrate somebody's life because they made the world so much better while they were here. That's why
Yes.
that's why we miss them so much now that they're gone.
Yes. Yes, she did.
And
Would
of
you
course, I never
believe?
got to meet Julie. She passed like a week before Michaela brought me in, so I never got a chance to meet her. But I've gotten to Mike through the green room, and every day
Mm-hmm.
is like, you know what? It's about
Well,
camaraderie.
basically, me, Julie. I mean, when I say we were soul sisters, yeah, her, me, and April, we were the evil triplets. And when we were together, what one didn't think of, the other one did. It's a wonder we didn't get into more trouble than we did.
Madam, you interest me strangely.
Just one day.
Yeah.
Just
But his insurance agent drove all the way from Springfield to be there, a 3 hour drive. Can you imagine that from an insurance agent? She is just wonderful.
Lindsay had a similar experience not too long after we got married. One of my best friends from college had passed away, and they had a remembrance for him. And we got there, and all of a sudden, here is all of my friends from college coming up. People that I said, hey, you know the names, you haven't met them yet, and they're just the most the most wonderful friends I've ever had. And
Hmm.
here we are, all gathered together in honor of somebody that we just absolutely all totally loved. And Lindsay said afterwards that she got to know him through all the people there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like she thought she had actually done the next best thing to having been there and meeting him in the flesh.
Hmm.
because we all had such vivid memories and we all had such lovely stories. And it, one of these days, folks should meet my crowd from college because then you would understand how I got so weird and twisted.
What's my view?
No comment.
No, no, no. It's just um, college was when I actually came out of my shell. I did there wasn't anybody around that I needed to protect myself from. There weren't any bullies,
Hmm.
so I was able to make friends and uh, eventually um, mature.
Sorry,
Well,
Dan said mature, and I kind of
yeah, I know.
choked.
Um, okay, take what you see now and go, hmm. Used to be it wasn't this good.
I yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
We're just not going to touch that one.
Yeah. But I was able in the ways of the universe was able to turn around and do the same thing for the son of a friend of mine from high school. She got the news on I think Tuesday that she had passed, and he got on her Facebook page and then let us know. And I was able to tell him a few things about her when I knew her in high school, how she was a very bubbly, wonderful person, and I'll always remember the smile and the twinkle in her eye. Um, she had a very, very, very rough home life. Not to tell tales out of school uh, uh, about her, but her brother was not a nice person and did end up going to death row here in Illinois because he killed his girlfriend and her friend. And that was one of the lesser things that he did. But Susie still, when she came to school, she she always was smiling and laughing and cracking jokes and left that behind her. And then she moved away and got married and lost track of her as you do,
Hmm.
especially since those were the years before Facebook. I was happy to find her again on Facebook, but chatted with him a little while, and he said he was very grateful to learn these things about her because some of the other high school friends, it was, oh yeah, shoot, I liked her, but they couldn't bring up instances like I did.
Mm.
And he told me that it made him happy to know that somewhere somebody was thinking of her smile. So it's funny how the universe works like that.
The universe works in strange and mysterious ways, and
Of
yet
course,
utterly comprehensible at the same time.
yep.
I believe we are all products not only of our family, but the people that we have befriended and known along the way that have influenced us in positive ways, and the ones that influenced us in negative ways, we just kind of allowed that to pass on into the ether and not be a burden and unto anyone. Um, it okay. Now I've got to do a shameless plug here. Um, if you want to get to know my old friend, his books are still out there. His name was Tom Dietz, Deitz, and he was a fantasy writer of no small talent, combining uh, Cherokee Indian mythology and uh, I do believe Irish fairy myths. Um, and he spread his wings and dove even further into. He had two or three books about uh, Mesoamerican mythology as well.
Sounds
He was a,
interesting.
he's a fantastic artist. He actually got his start in writing because he was going to illustrate. I can't remember if it was Catherine Kurtz or Marion Zimmer Bradley. I think it was Catherine Kurtz. He was going to illustrate a book for her, and that deal fell through. But she had gotten to read some of his stuff that he had been writing, but never even considered publishing. I go, you got to do this, dude. You're good. So he did, and lovely man, absolutely lovely man. Um, enriched my life greatly. He actually taught me the value of having an editor when I didn't realize it before. And here, we had this little publication that we did quarterly, um, and I had written a story for it, and he goes through with a blue pencil, goes, "Oh, this could be more tightly worded. This could," and about halfway through, I'm sitting there soaking in every word, and I'm trying not to be upset because he's changing my deathless prose, and then all of a sudden it clicked. He's improving it. He's teaching me something. After that, I welcome having an editor. I need an editor. Everybody needs editor. Every writer needs an editor. Even editors need editors.
I don't need an editor. I need a team.
You got a team.
You got an edit. You need an edit team.
Edit team, yeah. Ah,
Okay,
well,
so with the tablet, my camera seems a little bit bigger, and it's like, oh, okay. So you guys either sitting in my lap, kind of.
Kind of.
well, I won't say
Um,
I won't say that's been the best offer I've had all day, but it's right on up there in the top 5.
Dan.
Excuse me. If I
Are you
if I
people?
if I don't say these things, who will?
Rick, you guys missed me last. I've been way out of it the past 2 weeks.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
little orange kitty is being very attentive.
Mhm. Funny, mine hasn't come back in the room since he got a box thrown at him. Wasn't a big box, just when my proof coffee came in.
He's probably hiding in it now, going, "Oh, mommy threw me a box."
There's no way he could get in that. It's just that little box my proof coffee came in.
Excuse me. We're talking about a cat. Don't say there's no way they can fit.
They might blow the seams out, but they'll get in that damn box.
What was that?
Wasn't there a photograph of a leopard sitting in a cardboard box?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, there's a meme.
the captions are going, "Yep, that's a cat."
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if it weighs 700 pounds and could easily chase you to your doom. It's still a
George?
cat.
Cat's a kitty cat.
George never did boxes, and these two don't do boxes. It's weird.
I've got a feeling if I ever have a tragic accident, it's going to involve the words, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty."
I
Mm-hmm.
pet it. Come on. That would be
Yeah.
me. I just want to pet it. How'd she die? The elephant stepped on her. Why? Because she wanted to kill its trunk. She wanted to give its trunk a hug.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, this is not a green room thing, and no, this is not a San Francisco thing. Mine will probably come at the hands of a bear. Oh, Fluffy!
Hey, I didn't say that it was.
Hey, my ancestors used to tame them for house pets. So did Donna's.
Mine too.
Oh my God,
And then
polar bears are so
There
majestic.
were other of my ancestors that taught them how to dance. Don't ask me how they did that. I'm sure there was a lot of wine involved.
You would be like, oh, look at Mr. Polar Bear. I want to see your foot.
Yeah.
Their feet are, that big.
Oh, the little death jelly beans. Oh, the
Why
big
such
death
the
jelly
large
beans.
why such the large paws? Huh? I was just born that way.
You know what they say about a bear with large paws?
They're probably a polar bear
Probably.
or a
They're
grizzly.
probably a bear.
Hey, boo boo! You look like a picnic biscuit.
That's like the joke, what they say about a man with large feet
He wears big
in
shoes.
shoes.
Hmm.
Probably went to clown college.
Yeah, that's your brother up there.
Or like Jeff Foxworthy said, yeah, you know what they say about guys with the big nose, big hands, and big feet? They better be packing because that's one goofy-looking sucker.
Gallagher had a good one. He's going on. Those European newspapers where they go, the headline is, "My wife ran off with Bigfoot." And he's going, You actually going to say that? No. Okay, here's how you recover from that statement. You go, well, you know how they can say they can tell the size of this, that, and the other thing from the sizes. She didn't run off with Bigfoot. Matter of fact, if I wanted to find them, I could track them down real easy because there's got to be a trail dragging the ground.
Well,
Just the tip.
nose, feet, hands, any appendage will do.
All right, so this
Kinda.
goes back to me being a big nerd.
More
So
ways than one.
we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and our party ended up killing this creature called the Hook Horror, which has these gigantic hooks for hands. My buddy Wayne, his character, who was a dwarf, decided to hang that hook off of a chain and wear it around his neck. But of course, that meant that everywhere he went, he was dragging a furrow.
Gonna be real popular with the tavern wenches.
Just a smidge.
Like a dwarf wouldn't be anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I still love the fact that I was playing D&D first time with a group. First shot, I shot somebody in the back with an arrow. I was a ranger, half elf ranger. Later on in the game, we got married.
Really?
All right, this goes to show you how big of a Dungeons and
Keep thee
Dragons nerd I
behind
am.
me, Archer.
So I had started getting interested in 5th edition. My brother-in-law hadn't. He stayed with a different flavor, and I've played every flavor of actual Dungeons and Dragons, and then all the flavors of Pathfinder that are currently out as well, which was an offshoot of Dungeons and Dragons. But anyways, I digress. So his eldest was joining a Dungeons and Dragons club, but her dungeon master was just a lot misogynistic. So he's like, you need to help her design a character that is just going to piss him off. All right. So
Can't do.
in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, the elves, if you take a certain flavor of elf, the high elf, they can choose any cantrip to be just a cantrip that they know that they can cast whenever they want, and it doesn't matter whether they're in armor or not or anything. So I went ahead and made sure that they were armed, being able to cast that, because that the cantrip that I gave her to go ahead and choose to be the one that she cast is a damaging cantrip that damages just as badly as if you were wielding a longsword. So, of course, she has her, none of her gear, stuff like that. So she was still able to defend herself. That's what he was going to do, is kill her off immediately, so that, the girl just has to sit in the corner or leave. Nah, she ended up getting free. She ended up, and then I even gave her page numbers. I'm like, if he gets pissy and asks about this is the page number to go to. Write this down so that when he comes at you, you can just go right there, bozo. She was the only one to survive at the end of that session. So she's like, can I loot the bodies of her party?
Mm-hmm.
He got pissed off, and as far as we know, the group never met again. I'm betting the group met again.
Just not with that DM.
They just never told my niece, which is I just found that funny as hell, because I'm just like, you need me to design a broken character that's going to piss somebody off? All right. How badly do you want to piss them off? Do you just want mild irking? Do you want bleeding eyes? I can fulfill.
With the side order of insane rage.
So we had, in our normal group, we had a DM that, when everything started, he was a great DM. It was a lot of fun. But somewhere a switch flipped, and he became the I must kill the characters. Almost said kill the party. Completely different kind of thing going on. Yeah, but anyways, just wanted to kill all the characters. So we ended up just, every time he killed one of our characters, we're like, all right, what can we do to piss him off now? I got him to motherfuck me twice in one session. So we're playing 3.5 at that point in time, and one of the classes you can play with is something called a War Mage. So I'm like, okay, I'll take War Mage. I'll do that. Well, one of the things I could do with a War Mage is I was able to take something called Energy Substitution, which means that any spell that I cast that's an energy type, fire, electricity, acid, cold. Yes, acid is an energy type in Dungeons and Dragons. Don't ask me why, but hey.
Why?
I said, don't ask me why.
That's exactly why I asked why.
But I decided to take energy substitution, and I decided that the energy that I'll be able to substitute any spell that I cast for is sound. Because nothing has resistance to sound damage. Things have resistance to fire. Things have resistance to acid. Things have resistance to cold. So I'm like, all right, sound. We'll go with sound. So he's looking at that. He's like, you motherfucker. Sound? Nothing has resistance to sound. I'm like, I know. That's why I took it. So later on, we're in a battle where I'm casting Fireball, but I'm using the energy substitution for sound. And I'm placing, yes, I was firing sound balls. So,
That's not where I went, but I'm so glad you went there.
anyway,
So basically, you were Led Zeppelin.
so what happened was the party was fighting all the monsters, and I'm standing back a little ways, and I'm just looking. And I bring out our little template for how big the sound or the sound ball is going to be, and place it over, and I'm hitting every single member of the party, and the DM's just like, oh yeah, oh yeah. And then the thing is, all of the monsters were head and shoulders taller than the entire party. So then I flip and raise it up so that the fireball is above the heads of every single party member, but it still gets every single monster. I place my fireball, well, sound ball, in 3 dimensions. I point at a spot and decide where it's going to explode, and it's just a large area of effect. I'm an asshole. And as soon as I did that, he's like, you motherfucker. Twice, one session.
Yeah.
That's when you know
I'm like, hey, you gonna play the other stupid game where you're gonna try to kill us? I'll break the game.
I had one bunch of folks that I was running a dungeon for that they came to me because they had all these godlike characters that other DMs wouldn't let them use. First room they walked into had a trap that ate magic, but was otherwise undetectable until they tried to use their spells. All of a sudden, they dropped down several levels,
I bet they did.
and they still managed to get through that one, and they were greatly diminished, but they were having fun because nobody had ever done that before, is take them down a notch. Then I let them find a robot. Very next thing they ran into was something on the deity level. I mean, above their deity level. And one of them had the bright idea, okay, let's send in the robot. It'll get trashed and we won't have to follow it around anymore. Ace up my sleeve. The robot starts playing a Led Zeppelin concert through his PA system at full volume. Not only did they take damage, but it killed the deity. They go, okay, maybe we should keep the robot around a little while. Meanwhile, they're still taking damage, being around all this stuff. Then they got into a room. I shamelessly stole this from work. It was full of fiberglass but it was a monster, like an octopus or a centipede or something like that. But it was made out of itching powder, basically. So they fight it, they fight it, they fight it, and they finally figure out the only way to get through it is to chop it up into little pieces and toss it off to the side. And they're still taking damage after that. And there's a swimming pool. So the only way to get rid of the itching powder is to strip down and jump in the pool like the very end of Rocky Horror Picture Show. So they did.
Superheroes. Oh, sorry.
And I go, okay. I'm going to roll a saving throw for the party because you did the right thing jumping in the pool. I rolled a nat 20 for them. So it turns out the swimming pool was full of holy water that healed them and brought them back up to full strength. And they walked out of there with wagon loads of treasure and weird weapons and things like that. One of them walked out with what amounted to a spool of wire with two handles, and it was Sinclair molecule chain from Larry Niven. So you just whip out a loop of this wire, and it would cut through anything. Basically, I rolled it as if it were something similar to a Tron disc. You had to be able to catch it, which means you had to be able to keep it from cutting you in half when it rebounded into the spool. And she did. I mean, she was on a roll, to coin a phrase. She rolled so many high numbers on that. I had to give it to her. She defeated the next 3 obstacles, and they wound up with.
Okay,
Well, they were
Donna.
no longer godlike, but they were experienced with what can happen when somebody truly evil sets traps for them. So they were really happy about that. They enjoyed it. It was one of the toughest dungeons they'd ever went through. They said, because I did not have any mercy whatsoever until the dice said I had to, and I could have lied, but I didn't.
I only tried gaming once at a con, and it's like, okay, you're approaching the village. You need to try to shoot the guard with a load of 3. Yes. Guard shoots back. I don't remember the number, but he took off half my head. No heals. So I'm sitting there, and being the person I am, I sat there and went, and they finally finished the game without me and sent me into the old soldiers' home. So, okay, we'll play another game. Hunting out in the forest. You see your worst enemy. You're gonna shoot him. Missed. The dice were not good. And I kind of suspected the DM on this one because I got shot in the head again. No heal. And I was left by the side of the road to die while the rest of the hunting party went off to do their thing. And I'm like, I don't think I want to play anymore.
We were playing the game where I ended up marrying the guy I shot with the bow and arrow. We're playing with one of my
Oh,
friends, his daughter, and she was 13, 12, 13 at the time. Somewhere along the point of it, she lopped off her leg. She's like, and her dad's the DM. And she's like, Dad, and she's like, sorry, her legless.
Thanks, Dad.
and Donna, that'd
Yeah.
have been about the time that I remembered Warren Zevon and turned into Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner, stalking through the night. Oh,
Oh, you're an excitable boy.
oh.
I don't
That
know.
song is really sick. I'm just saying.
It was fun, but I just didn't want to get shot in the head the third time, so I'm like, besides, I was working security for the con, and I needed to be back on duty.
Oh, and Dawn, actually, my favorite song by him is Genius. It's one of the
I don't
last
know.
ones.
I say I don't listen to a lot of ones.
Mm.
Everybody
Uh,
knows.
please go when you have free time and look it up, because it's one of those storytelling songs that he does so well. Includes lines like Einstein was a ladies' man.
What she was.
Well, he thrilled the world with his universal plan. He was making out like Charlie Sheen because he's a genius.
But is he a warlock with tiger blood?
You know, I don't think
No,
it
but-
really matters at this point.
There was all that curly hair and that nice
What
bushy
are you doing here?
mustache.
Well, I have a funny tech story I meant to tell y'all, and Rich would really get a kick out of it, but I couldn't get a word in edgewise.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Rich, you've got the A word thing that answers questions.
Our favorite spy from Mr. Bezos.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Have you got a Fire Stick?
Actually, my sister just gave me 2.
Once you get them hooked up and get them all linked together, you're in for a surprise one day. You're going to get an email that's going to tell you the batteries are low in one of your remotes and tell you which remote.
That is cool and creepy at the same time.
Yeah. And then when you put new batteries in it, if you turn it back on and change the channel a couple times, you get another email that says, congratulations, new batteries are working.
Like you couldn't tell yourself.
Thanks, kid. What I need are lottery numbers that actually win, okay?
But yeah, that just
I
blew my
can't do
mind
Dave.
that I got an email to change the batteries in the Fire Stick remote.
Now, if they can just do that with the batteries for the smoke detector.
Oh, they do. It goes beep.
Yes, I know. But that also goes off when it's a foggy night and you have the windows open.
Yep. Oh, and if you have the up to code fire smoke detectors, they're all interlinked. And the batteries never die during the middle of the day.
No,
It's
it's
about-
always 3 a.m.
Right at 3 a.m. And when one of them starts to chirp, it sets all of them off.
I have two small dogs that do not like high-pitched noises. So as soon as the batteries start going out in the smoke detectors,
You find out before you even have.
they come hiding under my chair. Unless it's the one in my office. If this is the one in my office, then they're hiding somewhere else. But another thing is,
Daddy, save us from the evil cricket.
apparently, I do not have the mojo to cook in a electric oven easily and well. So when we are trying to make hamburgers in the oven, whether we're using the broil setting or just a really high heat setting, it ends up giving off enough smoke that one of the smoke detectors ends up going off. So as soon as the dogs start smelling the oven heating up, they hide under my chair because they know a smoke detector is going to go off.
You want to hear a good smoke detector story?
And I'm the only one that can reach the button to say, shut up.
Y'all want to hear a good smoke detector story?
Sure.
We weren't living here. It was the place before we moved in here. Donna's brother was over for dinner. And he asked me, what time is the food going to be ready? I'm getting hungry. I said, I don't know. Smoke detector hadn't gone off yet. Here comes Donna out of the kitchen. Okay, sorry, honey. She goes back into cooking. Not 3 minutes later, beep, 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 beep. Greg opens the door to his room and says, dinner ready? Who got in trouble for that?
You.
So this goes back to the first place that Misty and I lived after we got married. It was literally right next door to her sister. So we lived in a townhouse. So there's her sister and our brother-in-law lived in the second unit, and we lived on the end unit. Apparently, my sister-in-law, after a very long day of working, fell asleep while cooking, and it smoked up so bad the smoke detectors in her place were going off, but so were the smoke detectors in my place.
Well, we feel they were.
That's something you never live down.
No, she's a really good cook, so it's just funny that it happened to her. You know, Misty expected something like that to happen to Misty because if it didn't come out of a box or if it wasn't frozen and just needed to be reheated in an oven, at that point in time, Misty refused to have anything to do with it.
About 6 months after we got married, we bought a brand new double wide and was informed by one of my sisters-in-law, well, now that you've got a place, you're in the you get to do Thanksgiving next year. Like, no problem. Well, my niece and her husband, who had been married long before I was, lived in an apartment at the time, and they asked if they could co-host. I was like, sure, no problem, come on over. So they were in the guest room on one end of it, and we were on the other end, and the master bedroom was not that far from the kitchen. I have no problem saying I don't know how to do something. My mom came down and prepared the turkey because she always put it in the night before to cook. Put the water in it, put the foil over it, put it in the oven. Everything will be fine. It'll be ready about the time you wake up tomorrow. No problem. We wake up the next morning to the smoke alarm going off. And we crawl out of bed and go looking to see where this is coming from, and we see all this smoke coming out of the oven, electric oven. My mother had somehow miscalculated how juicy the turkey would be. It overflowed, and the grease hit the hot coils of the electric stove oven
Mhm.
and was smoking. And Carl runs over and opens the oven door.
Boom.
Buddy, never
Yeah,
comes out. See his tail? Just I'm not trying to, but look at his tail.
Comes on, immediately shows his ass to the screen.
Yeah, but look at his
yeah.
tail.
Put
Yeah,
it
he's
up a bit
automatically.
there, dog.
You guys never get to see Buddy. He's very camera shy.
Really, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, we took the turkey out of the oven early, but that last flash finished cooking it, so it was okay.
Almost finished cooking Carl.
Really.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing that he had his full beard, because if he hadn't had any facial hair, he probably would have had some burns on his face.
The apartment I lived at before I moved here, it had a furnace in it. You know, you like a lot of times apartments don't have furnace. It had a full-on gas furnace, and I went and started it, and went on with my day. Came home, and I'm like, it's so cold. Well, the next day, the landlord had called somebody to look at it, and it was a new guy. They just went, oh, a pilot lights out. It's a woman. She knows the pilot light. So he comes out, and this new guy looks at it, and he's like, yeah, something's not right here. I have to call somebody else. Yeah, because it's more than the pilot light. So he calls in another guy who's one of the senior guys, and he's sitting there messing with it. And I was not feeling good because I was cold and I was sick, and I was laying down and I was like looking down the hallway from where he was at, and all of a sudden I look up and I see and this little fireball go, and I'm like, oh. And the bathroom was right across the hall from the furnace. And so he goes running in the bathroom. And I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? And he looks up at me. He's got no eyebrows. They're all in my sink. What's wrong with this thing? But they brought in the owner of the company. I still don't know exactly what it was, but they had to bring in the owner of the company to figure out what's going on. But I'm like, he's like, yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I'm like, oh, don't worry. I cleaned up his eyebrows. They were in my sink.
I cannot
Like,
tell you the number of times I've seen furnaces throw fireballs. My father was a AC and furnace repair technician. So, because boys are always wilder than girls, bullshit. But because boys are always wilder than girls, because of how wild my sisters were, I did not get the chance to be. I got stuck working with my dad a lot. So, yeah, I just, repairing stuff. And then you just see dad just, okay, so that's there. All right, it's fixed. Just
Really.
you see dad anticipate it and lean to the side. Yep, there it is.
Yep, that's what I was looking for. Just not directly. Yeah, the amount of skill that it takes to know it's going to do that. and then just go, yep, okay, I'm on the right track.
Dad was like Kruskin with a furnace.
Even though Ted went to school for HVAC, I'm so glad he's not actually doing specifically HVAC now, because that would scare the shit out of me. He'd be like, "Ooh, what's this do?" And I've heard stories of what he does do at work, and I'm like, "Dude, how did you not die?" He's like, "Oh,
Because God loves drunks and fools.
well, he's 5 years sober, so he must be a fool." Well, he's dating me, so.
Not touching that line. Not touching
He's a
that
guy.
line.
He's a fool.
No. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a guy thing. Wait a minute. Why does it happen to me a lot? Never mind.
Shut
One of
up,
the
Daniel.
One of the best backhanded compliments I've ever gotten in my life was from Ted's best friend that he's known since he was in junior high. So they've known each other for 40 years. He looked at me one day. He goes, "You're like one of the guys with it." Thank you. He's like, "That was supposed to be a backhanded compliment." I'm like, "I liked it though."
So Donna, in reply to your comment, why does it always happen to you? Because you have bigger balls than about half the guys I know.
I have been told by many a guy that I think and act like a man.
So you pretty much are like what the guys would get.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
my dad really wanted a son, and he got that in my two sisters.
Well,
Had to
you
do
know,
some recombinant DNA, but it worked.
My sister Brenda, her freshman year of high school, in her first week of high school, she beat up 4 senior varsity football players. Knocked one clean out. One punch. Clean out.
Mhm.
well, you've heard me say my poor mother wanted a little girl and she got me instead.
Oh.
Well, I hate to do this, guys, but I gotta get to bed so I can, be all happy for doctors.
Have fun.
Happy for doctors? That's legal?
Um, I've already saw the urologist this week, so let's go pain management. Next week on the same day, I have GI and rheumatologist.
Wow.
Tell them they need to buy you flowers and take you to dinner first.
Wednesday, I had my GP for my prescription refills.
How'd that go?
And we spent the first 15, 20 minutes talking about AI and how it's probably going to blow the tits off the world.
I think the last doctor I saw is
Who?
Who's that?
actually no. That would be better because the one that I saw is no longer with us. So he shuffled off this mortal coil.
But what I'm saying is you've watched Doctor Who more recently than you've seen a doctor, so you've seen Doctor Who more recently.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I
And
was going with that.
believe me, I would trust his diagnosis much better.
Yeah, I also had to have the conversation with the doctor about needing to be stalked by the paparazzi.
GI.
Really, they shove a camera up here. Yeah.
See you tomorrow night.
Have a
Hopefully.
good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, there's no good way to spin that one.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we got to have a conversation about 2 things that guys don't want to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, the first one, go to the CDC, take a look at things, because guys usually die with prostate cancer instead of from prostate cancer, and it's usually only a very small trace amount that's found. So before we go digging and you decide to ignore the treatment, if we find something, Make sure there's a reason we went digging in the first place. You know, if I find cancer and we treat cancer, fine. If not, why did I just shove my finger there? And I'm like, you know, that's the best advice I can get for that. You know, it's like, you know, do a little bit more digging, and if they're shoving a camera up there anyway, they might see something. You know.
That's when you stand up to your full height, tower over him, and go, "This is not winding up on YouTube. Do you understand me?"
You need to buy me a drink first.
At least.
Tell me you love.
Box of chocolates and a steak dinner wouldn't be a lick of miss.
Tell me I'm pretty. Do you love me? But oh yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
Exploratory, yes.
I'm especially not looking forward to having to drink the bottle of Super Colon Blow.
Yeah.
Oh, the barium, whatever it is, or is it something different nowadays?
So for the colonoscopy, usually it's the pre-gaming super laxative, so that you're completely cleared out, so that they can actually see stuff instead of see shit.
You could just go to Taco Bell for that.
A couple of years ago, Misty had to get a colonoscopy. She actually had to go both directions, GI down, GI up, to see what's going on. I'm like,
When
I
the
hope
cameras
they.
can see each other, you know something's wrong.
I'm like, I hope they go down first, and you know.
They clean the camera, 2 different cameras.
I would say it's 2 different cameras.
But anyways, so she.
Oh God! Now I've just had a flashback to the motorcycle wreck.
She was drinking her preparation, so I was, she's gonna blow. She's drinking Super Colon Blow. Because we expected gastrointestinal pyrotechnics, and of course, it takes super long for that stuff to take effect in her. But shortly after me seeing that, I had issues.
Explosive decompression.
There was a meltdown in the core. And yeah. Richie was doing laundry like 3 times that night on the same pair of shorts and undies.
That's called karma.
Yes.
And
of course, right after I get done cleaning myself up and getting the clothes in the laundry for the first attempt at washing, I said attempt at washing. I immediately have to go to Facebook and I posted it. I'm like, yeah, I'm making fun of Misty because this is going to happen. And what happens? I'm the one with the gastrointestinal pyrotechnics.
That's some strong stuff that she can drink it and work on you.
Just the fumes, yeah.
That's sort of like a sympathetic pregnancy that some men go through when their wives are about to give birth. Okay. This is tales out of school.
Now they've got machines that they can put on your abs and stuff like that, and they can crank it. I'm like, okay, this is what the first contractions feel like. Oh my God, stop! And they're like, do you want us to go all the way to what the maximum contractions feel like? No.
Mm-hmm. One of the injuries I suffered in the motorcycle wreck was a torn urethra.
Oh.
Which eventually involved a device I like to, well, I don't like to, but I did at the time, call it the peniscope. So there was indeed a camera shoved in the second place the sun never shines, not the obvious one.
I've had to have that same kind of scope for different reasons. They wanted to check my bladder and stuff like that. So yeah, I've had to have that scope too.
It wasn't the doctor. It was an extraordinarily beautiful nurse.
Of course.
As luck would have it. And given it's my luck, it's usually pretty bad. And totally embarrassing. But I'm sitting there with a fiber optic camera, which feels like it's got a telephoto lens attached.
Feels like it's the Hubble Space Telescope shoved up there.
Exactly, yes.
If it wasn't torn before the scope, it sure as hell feels like it's torn now.
Well, actually, one of my supervisors at work complained about after this incident had happened, and I had to wear the catheter for 6 or 8 weeks, that whenever I had to go to the bathroom, I took off running. And he's going, "You just can't hold your water." And I go, "Okay, dude, you have one of them shoved there and see how much water you can hold. All right."
So they decided after the scope, they decided my urethra was too small. So they decided to shove metal spikes to widen it. That was not pleasant.
I've known people that would pay for that, but we'll not go into that area of sexology.
No.
And here's another interesting tidbit. Getting dressed, yeah, I felt like my bladder was full, so I had to go and evacuate. My bladder was full of air.
That's an unusual feeling. I will give you that one right there.
So it felt like I was passing gas through my little buddy. And it was freakish.
This is one of those things where you just got to look at Mr. Happy and go, "Are you sure?" It's not mine.
I'm like, what the fuck's happening? Totally. They didn't prepare me for it in any way, shape, and or form. They're like, "Oh yeah, water's going to go up there to help lubricate, so that blah blah blah." So I expected water. I didn't expect a vacuum. I didn't expect air.
2 exits, no waiting.
And seriously, Misty will still laugh about that to this day.
Of course, because you were dumb enough to tell her.
The entire recovery room heard me through the bathroom door. My voice carries just a little bit. And when I'm in complete shock and terror, it still carries maybe an octave or 3 higher.
Now, if
for the next week, it hurt every time because, of course, there's tears inside that are now having urine go through it.
That's why they made me wear the catheter until it healed. I don't know.
Yeah, mine didn't do that.
I don't know which was more embarrassing, having the catheter inserted or having it removed. The doctor was glad he was wearing rubber gloves in both cases, but no, so, Richie, if your remark that was heard through the bathroom door was not prefaced with, "What the?" I really don't know what to say.
It was. It's like, what the fuck?
I'm sorry.
I'm farting through my variant of my first name. And
sorry.
it is one of the strangest feelings in the entire world. I've been cathed twice. Once for the gastric bypass, and once when they put me under to do my meniscus surgery. Apparently, I would have won a peeing for distance contest when they pulled it from my gastric bypass, because apparently I hit the far wall.
I can't say that, but there were two nurses, an orderly, and a doctor that was really upset about the fact that I had been drinking heavily before I had the accident, and it was all water, but well, no, a lot of it was coffee. So
still a lot of liquid.
It believe me, in my embarrassment, it felt like a 55-gallon drum just got a hole punched in the bottom of it. So
I can imagine Carl's reaction when he gets to this section tomorrow. The replay. What the? Hey, that's what we say a little bit further in the video.
Well, we do have a loyal audience. All three of them. Oh, and they're still watching right now. Nah. Okay. This is why this is the after party for Stupid O'Clock. The stupid don't stop when this show starts. But we are laughing, so that's something right there. And we're all still living, so that's something else.
Oh God. Sorry, I'm just having a flashback to the movie that should not be named around Stephanie. When they hit the gas pocket and things happen. I'm just afraid that's what's going to happen when they do my colonoscopy. Keep pushing. We just hit a gas pocket. It's going to blow.
Oh crap!
No, they're hoping none of that.
You knew you were mining for methane. Why aren't you using a hose and a collection tank?
Hi, Mike Jimmy.
Morning, Mike Jimmy.
Mike Jimmy. Oh Lord, you picked a fine time to join us, Lucille. Oh Lord. And I've invited friends of mine from work to watch this show. Why do I never learn? Well, I guess that's because I'm at the stage where I have no more F's to give. If you're not entertained by this, don't bother to watch Jerry Lewis movies.
I beg you to look upon my field of F's and see that it is fallow.
Oh. And yet we still have viewers. I mean, we still have fans. No matter what we get up to. I think they're wanting. I think they're wanting a green room preview. Is what they're wanting.
So on the other side,
we just give them little bitty tributes.
And of course, the other side is not today, Satan.
Oh, Mike Jimmy, yes, indeed.
If they keep watching, it's because they're like, oh, what's going to happen now?
It's like a train wreck. You can't look away.
What weird shit is Rich going to bring up now?
And if not Richie, what's Dan going to say? Oh,
It's a good thing
my
Aunt Donna is
blushes.
there.
In which ear? I'll find out. Witness testimony. I started to say eyewitness testimony. In this case, it'd be ear witness testimony, wouldn't it? Ah,
Because I don't have eyebrows.
yes, you do.
April informed me I needed to dye my eyebrows. Like, why? I have fine ginger eyebrows to go through it head.
My sister once told me I needed to start dyeing my hair if I wanted to look younger, and I'm going, you think I worked this hard to get this far and want to look like a teenager? Uh-uh.
Yeah, I luck out with my jeans. It's most of it looks like highlights. It's starting to get more noticeable now, but I've had gray since I was 18.
Good morning.
Hello, Mike Jimmy.
Morning, brother.
Oh,
Morning, Shelby.
Oh,
I finally sat down. Contain.
Oh, you're back.
not the first cat of the day.
I only have her for 2 more weeks, so.
Oh, and I did get both of the downloads from the GoFundMe.
Ah.
So I'm looking forward to when I've got the time to actually go through everything.
Well, yesterday
Did you get a box thrown at you?
I received the second proof of the hardcover.
Ooh.
And yes, it is 1.5 times as thick as I told you.
That's because the art is 100 times as good as you told us.
No, it's still the same art, so. But yeah, it's all there. And
Yay.
there's going to be 50 of them. And I know pretty much every one of you is going to get one.
Counting on it.
Yep.
Oh.
No, I got to check on that one tomorrow fully, because I already found one mistake, which was a total oops, but okay. And from there, yeah, like it's
You're
gonna be
a good
printing,
boy.
and I'm gonna have to do a lot of big sketches for everyone.
Well, don't feel bad. I just finished processing a story that I made as a web page in 2004 so that it can be published. It's gone through 27 or 28 edits, and I'm
Ooh.
still finding typos. I don't know. I was really drunk at the time.
It's okay.
Should have seen me while I was writing.
You should have seen the other guy.
Not a mark on him.
Shelby.
Oh, yep. I've gotten to the point to where I am so close to the manuscript now. I cannot see my own mistakes anymore. I know there is still plenty left because I know the way I write. So I'm going to have to just ship this one off to the publisher and go, it's time to let the editorial staff tell me their reactions to this. Now, I did post about the first scene that always makes me cry. I managed to get through the next two without crying, but I was really deep in editor mode at the time, and not I'm reading this, which is two different mindsets.
Yes.
Don't let anybody lie to you. You have the mindset to edit where you only see where you said things wrong and you need to reword stuff. And then you have the mindset of, I am reading this. And then, if there's emotion involved, it stabs you like a harpoon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you know you did something right. If you can make your own self cry with your deathless prose, and not because it is your deathless prose, but because you've gotten so lost into it, you don't even remember that you were the one that wrote it. And this is a story that I emailed a print copy, I mailed a print copy to Lindsay before she got on the bus from New Mexico to Athens to come and meet me the first time. And she said by the end of the first day, while she was on the bus reading it, she forgot I was the one that wrote it. I mean, it
This
was
is a good
that.
thing.
Yes, I mean that's a very high compliment. She was able to separate the story from the writer. I'm hoping that everybody else can do that too.
So, have you ever seen the movie Romancing the Stone?
Many times.
Okay, when she's
Cartagena.
when in the beginning when she's finishing up her story and she's just, I mean, she's crying and she can't. She used up all the toilet tissue and the Kleenex and everything in the apartment and ends up having to use her sticky notes. I'm watching that and going, yeah, that's a romance writer for you. That would never happen. I'd never cry when I was writing a story. My last book that came out, Known Strangers, there is a scene that I cried when I wrote it, and I cry every time I read it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like every time I cry, I think back to Romancing the Stone. So, okay, yeah, it did.
Fine, I'll admit it.
Now,
It's possible.
I do have to admit that when this was just a web page, somebody went through it and counted all the cuss words. And they complained about one particular scene that was just absolutely loaded down. It turns out that was from life.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mhm.
witnessed a young lady having a nervous breakdown. I remembered exactly what she said and how often she said it. And within a month, she was no longer with us. It's a very emotional thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it is as biographical as I can make it in my fiction. It's as real as it gets.
Don't make me throw another piece of cardboard at you.
Oh, cardboard. Okay. Not
Uh, yeah, when we were writing Woodstock Dreams, there were three of us doing it, and there was one scene where Joe the gangster gets mad, and he's yelling at Alice, and about every fourth word is the F-bomb.
Mm-hmm. But it's
The
in
third-
character.
The third writer is like, we need to clean that up because nobody talks like that.
Yes, they do.
I'm like,
It's a
They've
This-
never
Sunday
talked to an engineer.
this dude is a gangster from Jersey. I've met this dude.
morning.
This is how it would be. And
They do indeed talk that way. Yeah, and my reply would have been, "Excuse me, allow me to introduce you to industrial language,
yeah,
Mhm.
which has
like,
been my life for almost half a century."
You want to meet my friend Vinny, or you want to meet my friend Bubba?
mhm. But I says I have taken the scene straight from a rampage I saw a friend of mine do. I repeated practically word for word what he said.
Hmm.
We're not in your little Catholic school anymore, Michelle. But she was a good Catholic girl, as you could tell by her character in the book.
Her name was Michelle.
That's her pen name.
Okay. Most Michelles that I have met are psychotic.
No, that was her pen name.
Me too.
Just honoring. Aye!
Every Michelle that I've dated has been a psychopath.
Sorry for the scream. I just got claws in my leg.
I
You
kinda
are
figured.
getting
Sorry about that.
whiteboard thrown at you again. Damn.
He just wants attention.
Mm-hmm.
Typical male.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but he's supposed to claw daddy, not mommy.
Daddy's not awake. There's no fun in that.
Oh no,
Mommy,
there's even more fun in that.
Not for the cat, just the audience. Ah.
but also, mommy's got shorts on for the first time in several months, and
Mm.
Oh, there's an acre of leg he can claw.
well, slacks he could do his light little claws on and not hurt. But even light little claws hurt their skin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Barry
I
does
I
that
had
to
an,
me all the time.
I had an incident last night with the dog, and okay, this dog is about the size of a deer. I'm laying in bed trying to get to sleep, uh, wishing desperately that I would just go ahead and break down and get up and go drink another beer and take a sleeping pill. Unfortunately, I'm out of sleeping pills and I didn't feel like having another beer. And the dog just flops over across my legs and hugs me so tightly. Like, Daddy's in bed. I love this. And I'm just laying there going,
Not helping.
this feels absolutely affectionate to the nth degree, and I love this. Now, please, lay still.
Yep.
So that's what my
Does the
cats
dog
say to
listen?
me.
No! The dog does not listen to lay still.
No.
Uh, this is not a command of which she was previously acquainted. So about an hour later, when I really needed to roll over, otherwise both legs would have been to sleep because the dog was laying across them. She gets up, flops down, got her back pressed against Lindsay, got her paws pressed against me, and she's just going, I'm happy now. One of us is.
Mhm.
I do love that dog. I really do love that dog, but she can be a
A
bit
thing.
of a bit of a pain in whatever region you want to have pain in, or wish you didn't. But it's like tonight when I opened the door to let some cool air in after Lindsay had gone to bed. Dog jumps off the bed, runs into the office, and will not move. She just absolutely goes, "Oh, I miss you, I miss you, I miss you. Come to bed soon." And Lindsay has to wake up and call her back to the bedroom so I can close the door again and finish the show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean,
Well, those of you who've had children know what it's like to take your toddler to kindergarten.
oh yes.
You leave them off. You leave them off. They're crying, "Don't leave me, ha ha!" And as soon as you're out of sight, they're playing.
Yeah.
My cats do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. This
They-
one too.
They managed to make Carl feel guilty for leaving.
It really don't
Mhm.
leave me. I'll have to put another mouse down the shower drain.
And
True story.
we have
I was
a
going to wind
camera.
up with a degree in plumbing before this is over with.
We have a camera so we can see. It was put up so that we could watch the other cats. That one, we've got one in the cat room. And I looked at the one in the cat room and I showed it to him and I said, "I think they're missing you a lot. Both of them sound asleep in the sunroom."
Yeah. No. The moment you're gone, they go to their favorite place, flop down, and they sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment you're there, and I know this one, this little bugger,
Mhm.
the moment I wake up, and especially now because I keep her in the kitchen, and the of the hallway, and the of my bedroom. Both doors are closed because Luce is allergic. The moment she hears that I'm the one walking to the toilet at night, or just walking around the house in general, there will be murderous screams coming from the kitchen
Oh,
because,
we
God
had
forbid, she was alone.
one would not scream. We got to walk through closet between the bedroom and the bathroom, and then the bathroom has a separate door in the hallway. This girl would hit the door hard enough to open it even when it was latched. And she just walk in going, "Thought that's what you're doing." Yep. Yep. I'm here to supervise. I just look at her and go, "Do I watch you in your litter box? Give me some privacy, please." And she'll turn her nose up in the air and walk back out in the hallway, leaving the door open because she's never learned how to close a door.
Of
She
course.
knows how to open them, but she can't close them. And just serious. I mean, you would not think that 4 pounds of cat could spring open a latched bathroom door.
Oh yes, they can.
This one, I swear, has been studying kung fu and several other martial arts. Um, Something that tiny should not be able to move something that large. But yes, she can.
I'm glad she can't open doors.
Oh,
Makes
and
my
now
life
with
a whole lot easier.
the dog, all she does is just lean up against it, and it goes pop, opens the door. Seriously, I mean, I I'm not lying about her being as big as a deer. She's
No.
she's she's got to be somewhere around 60 pounds by now, and she's well over knee high
Mm-hmm.
on all fours. When she jumps up on her hind legs, she's taller than I am.
Yeah, that's a
She's
buzz.
taller than Richie is.
I
Our
like big
Siamese
dogs.
cat, Blue, was so big that people mistook him for a dog, and very, very muscle bound. He walked like this because he was so muscle bound. And had he been a human, he would have ridden the short bus. But he was quite the, I'll say, idiot savant
Mm-hmm.
because he figured out how to open doors.
Breaking and entering is in the cat's CV.
I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Uh,
the front door has just the old fashioned where you push down the latch to open it, but the other doors he could actually manipulate.
Open that.
And we told people we don't lock the house to keep people out. We lock the house to keep the cat in
Uh-huh.
because he couldn't. The latch was the lock was the only thing he couldn't reach. And this one has already figured out how to open latches.
there is a reason why the deadbolt on the door, the front door, you have to have a key on both sides. One reason is burglars. The other reason is cats.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that thing had a rotary switch,
Mhm.
that cat would not leave the door closed no matter, I mean, seriously, no matter how much we desired it to be closed and actually locked it, that cat would open the door and sit there and go, hmm, there's sheep across the road in the field. Y'all got any
Uh,
mint sauce?
I must have one.
Yeah, really? I dread the day when she finally goes across the road and drags a freaking cow back, and I'm going, this is going to cost me. How much barbecue sauce we got, honey? And the answer is a gallon because we brought some home from Hallowcon. So I've never had a gallon of barbecue sauce before. I feel like going, maybe I shouldn't reread Robinson Crusoe today. Might get ideas. Literary reference for those who don't know. Robinson Crusoe was actually a book before it was a
Mhm.
sci-fi movie starring Batman.
It's a butt. She's being a butt.
Oh,
Yes, you
not the
are.
sweet baby.
No, she's
God,
not. She's trying to
her
eat
head is as
plastic.
big as yours.
Her head or her butt?
Your head.
Well, my beard is about as big as her head. There we go. Wrong. Yeah, you did. You're a terrible kitty.
Yeah, right. You say
Fortunately,
that, but you still love me. Yeah.
I do.
fortunately, we don't see a lot of Calvins, but he has a very unfortunate fur coloring that I noticed just the other day. He's got a white butt, but he's got a brown droplet of fur And when I first saw it, I thought he hadn't cleaned himself, but no, it's his fur. Where'd you go?
Sneaking up on you. Check the book. Check the bookshelves.
Fortunately, with the camera, I can keep an eye back there. I think he abandoned me.
Carl must have rolled over. I heard the bed spring squeak.
Gotta make sure he's still asleep.
Yeah, like jumping on the bed's going to make sure that's going to continue.
Nope, he won't jump on the bed till about 4 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Food.
Nope. This is time to get up. That's why Carl goes to bed at 9 o'clock at night. Because he's got him up at 4 in the morning.
I'm so glad I don't have to any longer.
Fortunately, ours have accommodated to the alarm clock. And once they sleep, except for my usual 3 a.m. to 4:20 need to
What's this alarm clock you speak of?
it's something non-retired people have.
So Crow had to go have a sleep study done last night because they're pretty sure that they probably have sleep apnea. Go figure. Both their mother and their father have sleep apnea. I'll laugh my ass off if they are going to require 11 centimeters of pressure, like Misty and me. But anyway, so we go out there. Misty takes them up to go do everything. And then I get a text. You need to go home. I have to stay here. It didn't dawn on us that they were going to require an adult to stay with them. Not in the same room. It was across the hall. And I'm like, it's a medical facility. You know, if it was a regular hospital type thing, you know, nobody would think different of it. But, you know, so I was pissed because we didn't bring Misty any sleep clothes. We didn't bring Misty her CPAP. And Misty's like, you know, you're pissed, so you're probably not wanting to bring me my CPAP. I'm thinking, well, one, I don't have the gas to go home, come back, go home again, and still have to make it out to my dad's house this weekend to help my sisters clear more crap out so we can try to get everything taken care of so we can go ahead and get that taken care of. So my other issues are taken care of. So yeah, I had to wake up at 4:30 to go get them. And of course, Misty felt like I was slept for crap and felt like crap. So Misty had to trade working today, because it's still today for us for the next 6 minutes, for Saturday, which Saturday is when her parents are, because her parents are up from Florida. Saturday was the day that her parents were supposed to come, because I'm like, I'll be at my dad's house. I don't care if they're here. I can avoid them because I still have issues because of what happened last year. I'm getting better. But it's a healing process. You know, it's there's still some scabs on those wounds. You know, they're getting better. But I'm like, the perfect day for it. They can come. You can spend as much time. Blah blah blah. They're like, so we'd like to spend the night. I'm like, no, you're not sleeping under my roof. Nope, ain't happening. We don't have any place for them to sleep either. I mean, I don't have any mattresses in my office, and I don't have any space to set up a mattress in my office. And if they're going to be spending a night on a day that I'm working the next day, that gets a little weird too.
Yeah.
So yeah, apparently now they're going to show up on a day that I'm actually have to be here. But hey, it is what it is. I still love my in-laws. I just don't like them right now.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, again, it is what it is. I have no idea what prompted me bitching about them. Because I was talking about what a cluster
sleep
last
study
night was.
and Misty having to do without her
Her
CPAP
CPAP.
and everything. Yep.
It was nice because I actually got to sleep on the bed so that my shoulder that is injured is not hanging off the bed. I actually got to sleep with it on the bed.
You could starfish.
No, I wasn't even starfishing. I'm like this in our bed, but it's. I love my wife to death. Sometimes I'm willing to strangle her to prove it.
Mhm.
But she keeps pushing towards me. I can't sleep if people are touching me.
Ooh.
Especially if she's sitting there and starts doing this in her sleep, which she does. It's like, if she's doing this before I fall asleep, I'm fine, because it'll eventually soothe me to the point where I fall asleep to it. But if I'm this close to sleep and all of a sudden it's just like,
and we're awake. Yep.
and I'm like, honey, I love you, but here's the thing. I have to get, when she first started doing this, I had to get sleep because I had to drive in the morning ass early to go to work. Now, I still need some sleep, but, I can just shuffle down the hall and be like, all right, yeah, whatever. Lunchtime, all right, it's an hour nap, But, oh, God, it's just... In the old place, she would push me off the bed because she would keep creeping closer. And, of course, her body heat is making me hotter, so I've got to scoot closer away so I can cool down enough so I can actually sleep. And then off the edge. When Crow was just an itty-bitty baby, so still a little taller than Misty. Okay, Misty's not that short, but still. When Crow was a little bitty baby, so we had an Italian Greyhound. So Italian Greyhound is a greyhound the size of a Chihuahua. Phoebe, the Italian Greyhound, would sleep in bed with us. And the dog would starfish.
Of course.
So, of course, you've got the two plus-sized humans, one in extra tall, one in extra short, with this much bed on either side, with the dog in the middle taking everything else up. And then when Crow got to the point where they could actually crawl out of their crib was in our bedroom, so that if there's any issues, we could immediately take care of it instead of having to trudge down the hall or worry about, okay, is the plug working correctly? Because all of our plugs in that house were just trash. So, was there enough people running through the house today that the cable vibrated enough to not actually be plugged in anymore, so we don't hear the baby monitor? So we just kept. Plus, we also had Brittany in one room Zach in his room, so we didn't really have a third room for a child. We shouldn't expect one of our kids to have to put up with a baby crying in the middle of the night when they've got to go to school in the morning and stuff like that. But Crow would actually climb out of their crib. So yeah, definitely my kid. Apparently I used to do that all the time as well. I'd climb out of the crib, open my door, and either climb in bed with one of my sisters or climb in bed with my parents. But, you know, about the age of 21, I'm like, maybe I should stop climbing in bed with other people. No, kidding. I did that much time.
Wait a minute. At the age of 21, that's where you start.
That's where you get back into it.
Yeah.
Actually, no. About 16, 17 usually. But 21, you know, it starts to get into a regular thing.
No,
I
at
was
16 or
like-
17, my parents wouldn't let a girlfriend in the house, so
Yeah, well, like they
I had
do.
to wait till I was 21 and had my own apartment.
I'm a fairly pure boy. I could actually have a shop incident and still be able to count my partners on one hand. But anyways, so but yeah, Crow would climb out and climb in bed with us, and then again, Crow would be like as well. So it's like, you know,
You make me feel so evil.
and here's the funny thing: when they were sleeping, Crow and the dog got along famously, beautifully. If they were awake, the dog hated Crow with a passion. We had the dog before Crow,
Center of attention. Yes, I understand.
and we used to hold the dog like a baby.
Mm-hmm. Dog was angry.
Yep.
Did we lose him?
Did you freeze?
Am I back live again, or am I still?
Yeah,
There you go.
You're no longer Memorex.
All right, there. But so when Crow was born, of course, we were holding the baby instead of the dog. The dog would try to push the baby out of Misty's arms while Misty was feeding. And Misty started, feeding naturally.
It's breastfeeding. It's natural.
Yeah.
So
Who cares?
it was very difficult to dislodge the child. So Misty actually had a breastfeeding pillow to put around her so that, So it was kind of funny. So, she'd hand Crow off to me, and really hard not to detonate them right now. But hand Crow off to me so that I could, hold them for a little bit and all that happiness. And then as soon as the baby was gone, Phoebe was up laying on that pillow, just like, "Love me, mommy."
Mm-hmm.
She would growl at the kid. I mean, she was so jealous. I've had psychotic exes that were less jealous.
Generally, if a dog is like that towards a baby or a child, generally, just keep that dog away from that child.
Well, no, they
Either that
they
or
grew to
later
be
on that dog is
thick
going
as
to be that
thieves.
child's greatest protector.
They grew to be thick as thieves. Now, How to Train Your Dragon came out while Crow was between 2 and 3. I was at Walmart, and I'm walking through the toy aisle because I'm a big kid. I look down, and I see this little How to Train Your Dragon kit that came with a small axe, a small shield, and a Viking helmet. I used the last $25 in my wallet to buy that. Got home, gave it to Crow. They love the helmet. They love the shield from it. Then they picked up that axe, and they looked at the dog. And
Smart kid.
started chasing the dog. Now again, Greyhound, Chihuahua size. So the dog could teleport. 45-mile-an-hour couch potatoes is how that breed is described. So Crow would start chasing the dog. The dog would run down the hall. And the kid would be like, and then run down the hall after the dog. The kid would get about 3/4 of the way down the hall. Then there would be a gray blur. Crow would still be running to the end of the hall and get to the end of the hall and be like, turn around. Oh, and run. Misty and I almost peed ourselves for 3 hours straight watching this. It's not like we recorded and just looped it. No, we watched this shit live. It was glorious. We loved it. Oh man, it's laughter is the best medicine, and I think we cured cancer that day.
Yep.
But it was just funny because running down the hall and then just this blur, as the dog runs past them, and they don't even realize it yet. But then again, in Crow's defense, Crow is literally blind in one eye. They can see fairly decent on the peripheral here and here from that eye, but once they get past like here to like here, maybe they might get a shadow or something like that. So granted, they were half blind, but still, it was just hilarious and just wonderful to watch. I wish we would have had the presence of mind to record it on something, because it was just hilarious. And tonight I had to record Bucky, or try to record him. Little bastard stopped doing it. So he's sitting there laying next to Misty, and he's kind of looking at me like, Daddy, why aren't you giving me love? So I'd reach over, I'd give him the scritchies, and then I put my hand down on the couch, and then I would look away, and out of the corner of my eye, I see him. And then suddenly the front paws go out for my hand to pull my hand to him like, no, I'm not done with this. Get back to work, slave.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hilarious watching him do it, because just start taking the hand away. He's just like,
Well, I've got to say, no matter how many children you've raised, they are simultaneously entirely different and all too much together the same.
oh yes.
Mhm.
I was watching some videos yesterday, and I never thought it's one of those things when I watch the video, it's like, oh yeah, I've known that. Why the hell didn't I realize that I knew that? It was talking about how gifted kids are special needs,
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
and we luck out early in education because we don't need to study. Everything clicks. Everything is able to be memorized immediately. We
Yeah,
don't
really.
have to worry about that.
Mhm.
You read the book, you know it.
And
Yeah.
then when you start getting about 7th, 8th grade, the study skills everyone else learned and focused and picked up on, you are almost entirely bereft of.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
And then also, like, half of us or more have some flavor of ADD on top of it that we were never diagnosed with.
Or dyslexia.
Yeah. And it's
Mhm.
and then from that point on, we're limping.
Yep.
And, because of the ADD, we don't have the impulse control. So we don't have the ability to go, no, I can do that later. I need to finish this, worry about this later, and that kind of stuff. So crap. It's something gamer, and it's the guy is actually a clinical medical psychological doctor that's doing it. He's a young kid. Okay, young. He's probably about the age of my eldest child. This is what he looks like. So he looks about 30. So exactly. So if I call you a kid, Mike Jimmy, I'm
I know.
not being insulting. I have children your age.
I look.
What
It
are, you,
took,
what are you saying? I've got grandchildren older than him.
it took me until last year to look at myself as an adult. I mean, and then just a little bit occasionally when it's needed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
I was trained from birth to raise children. They didn't have to be mine. Most of the time, the early days, it was my cousins that I was looking after because I'm older and supposedly more responsible,
Mhm.
like fun. But, and then my stepchildren come along and they start having children. And here I am with grandchildren. And I'm going, oh my God, this is what mom and dad were trying to train me to be able to do.
Mhm.
And you pray to whatever deity you recognize that you don't screw up. Now, occasionally you will anyway, but I almost got fired over one of my grandsons because he was sick and I was the responsible adult in the family. So I had to take care of him. His mother and father were not there. We were babysitting. Um, I almost got fired from work because he was extremely feverish all night long, and I had, I didn't have to. It was my honor to lay there and make sure that everything was all right. Made sure that he had water, he had the formula, he had everything he needed.
Yeah.
Change diapers, whatever. And I was pretty freaking groggy when I got to work the next morning and still worried about the kid because I was not home.
one of those
Now,
cases of you didn't have to, but you
But
had to.
yeah, no.
You
yeah,
know,
it's
I'm not forced to do it, but to be true to myself, I have to do it.
well, yeah. It, and that's the thing that's the thing that
Gesundheit.
it,
Excuse me. Thank you.
bless you. That's the thing that let me go through the rest of the grandchildren that came later successfully because I knew it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about the kid. And grandpa got to do what grandpa got to do. Um, come hell or high water, kid comes first. And in this instance, paycheck comes second.
Agreed.
Um, now that was a very intense time, and the kids made it much easier to bear. And everything that went on that didn't have anything to do with them, I had my priorities straight. So, you know, uh, don't distract me. Kid needs me. Um, that did not go over very well on occasion, but I didn't care.
the kid cannot be part of the problem that you
Nope.
have with the parents. Ever.
Yep. Not ever. Never. Uh, it's fine when it's just a couple. You bring a child into that same environment. I'm hardwired. I am trained. I am built to put the kid first.
Yeah, same.
So, you know, that was not easily accepted by that particular partner at that particular time. Uh, don't know if she ever got over it, but I
That is a
really
her
didn't care.
problem.
I really didn't care. The kids knew. When they grew up, they knew. I was a one.
Yeah, it's funny when the biologic parent has zero figs to give.
Well, it was more of they need a slight vacation because they became parents too young. They've got to
Yeah,
back up, regroup, and come at it again with
yeah,
well rested and whatnot.
they were burnt out from the start probably. Then if it's a
Hmm.
case of becoming a parent too young, um,
Yep. But I've got to say, I'm real proud of her. She turned out to be absolutely earth-shakingly fantastic, and her boys have they've had their problems, but mostly that started when they were teenagers. As kids, they knew exactly they were loved and they were not being ignored and not being used as weapons against the other parent.
Mhm.
That's very important in my book. You don't drag kids into that.
Nope.
If you're
Misty's ex was really keen on weaponizing our middle child. He didn't care so much about the eldest. It's There was an incident in high school that happened with Misty um, that ended up in our oldest. He adopted Zach when he and Misty got married, but he treated Zach like shit. Um,
that there's no excuse for that. There really isn't.
No, like
I mean,
and
I
yeah,
I acknowledge that it happens and it happens altogether too often, but it's still wrong.
yeah, and I concur. Um, and then uh, he would weaponize our middle child. Oh yeah, your mom was cheating with Rich on me. You know,
mhm.
before we got divorced, dude. I met her less than a year ago. You guys have been divorced for years.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep. It's amazing what fantasy world some folks live in, and not the kind that we write, but the kind that is real to them
Yeah,
because they want to see themselves as the hero of their own story, which we do know everything about. Every villain is the hero of their own story, whether it's fiction or real life.
and wow,
Oh, we're gonna have to log off soon because my alarm clock's going off in a few hours, and uh,
yeah. I got
I'm
40 minutes before I head out to work.
it's
Yeah.
funny how many heroes are the villains of their own story in their
Oh
own
yeah.
mind because
this
they
is
beat
true.
themselves up over stuff that's happened.
I should have done
Mhm.
this. I should have done that. Well, maybe you didn't get a chance.
This is true.
True.
Maybe
True.
you should just give yourself enough credit for what you were able to accomplish in a difficult situation.
And what nobody realizes is we're the villain of their stories.
Yeah, because we write about it.
Unless they're Deadpool, which they'll have fourth wall, a fourth wall sense and be able to go, wait, you're being a dick. Stop it.
Shut up.
It's time to say goodnight, Gracie.
Oh, good night, Gracie.
Yeah, folks.
Please.
Thank all of you for being here.
Always a
And
pleasure.
Dawn, too, even though she had to leave early. It's always a
I miss
pleasure.
Dawn. Darn it.
Yeah.
No, the heck with that quitter.
Yeah, she has an early doctor's appointment.
Yep. And we hope everything goes well, believe me. I do believe that's a universal sentiment right there.
Yes. She's good people.
All right, folks, we are going to, let me click on this over here so I can get to the proper thing. Oh, no, not the intro again, Daniel.
Yeah.
Time to do some sketchy shit.
Now that I don't mind, but and actually that's a good idea. So good night, everybody, and we'll see you Saturday night. Those of you that we don't see tomorrow night, but that will not be recorded. And on that note,
Night.
Good night.
Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Transmission overload. System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.